Hiya, welcome to Craftwerk. My name's Ruthie and today I have a review for you. So if you've watched my autumn-winter capsule wardrobe video, you'll know that I wanted to make and review the ginger jeans by Closet Case Patterns, and I have done just that. So first of all, I actually purchased the paper pattern for this, just because I really like to have paper patterns when I can, and this felt like a pattern where I wanted to invest. Unfortunately, the place I ordered it from were out of stock, but I didn't know that when I ordered. They very kindly refunded and everything, but it did take a few weeks and a bit of me chasing them. I won't mention them because they are usually great, but it did mean that I got a little bit restless, and in the end I decided to just buy the PDF pattern. Which I did, and I printed it off. Now, the first thing to say is I wanted to make the view B, which is the high-waisted skinny jean, and unfortunately I wasn't paying attention for whatever reason, and I printed off and stuck together view A. So that was mistake number one. Quite often when you get different views and different options with one pattern, it'll all be on like one piece of paper or on two pieces of paper, but all kind of mixed in together. This is not the case for the ginger jeans, which I found out the hard way, and totally my fault. I just didn't pay attention, just printed it off. I realised before I started cutting it out, but yeah, there we go. I probably won't ever make view A just because I need a high rise, and obviously it suggests a stretch denim for this, so I've made it in a black stretch denim and a white stretch denim, and the size that I made I think was a size 14, but I did have to take quite a lot off. So the second one I made was a size 12, and still I had to take quite a lot off, and it's a little bit too big still. So it might be because I'm actually kind of dieting at the moment, so I am losing quite a lot of weight. But I also feel like it totally depends on the amount of stretch in your denim, and I think every version I make I will probably have to make adjustments to, and I'd rather cut out a slightly bigger size and have to bring it in than obviously cut out a smaller size and not be able to do anything about it. Okay, so onto the fabrics. So the fabrics that I got were both from Mr. Fabrics in Lewisham. Unfortunately, that's closed down now, so I need to find an alternative to source things like denim. But yeah, Mr. Fabrics was great, and as they were closing down, I think I got each one for about £4 a metre, which is really cheap for a stretch denim, and they have a really good amount of stretch, both of my denims. One of them is a black stretch denim, and on the inside it's a lot paler, and the other one is a like white stretch denim, or it feels a little bit like it's just undyed stretch denim, and kind of looks that way as well, because I guess it's a little bit more creamy than it is white. It's certainly an off-white colour. But yeah, absolutely love both of these fabrics and got them for a total bargain price. Stretch denim is actually a lot easier to work with than a lot of other stretch fabrics. I did use a denim needle, which I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but it is suggested in the pattern, so I guess you might as well follow the pattern, particularly if you have invested in something quite expensive like stretch denim tends to be. So yeah, onto the pattern. It's amazing. Like, obviously it's a really well designed pattern, lots of people have used it, it's incredibly popular, but it also creates a really great shape. So that's first of all. But in terms of using the pattern, I found it really easy in general. However, I did also refer to the sew along on the Closet Case blog, which I'll link to below as well. It's absolutely brilliant, a great sew along, and the good thing about it is you've got the pattern which has like illustrations, and then you've got the sew along which has photos, and because you've got it said in two different ways, then you can kind of work out if you're really struggling on a little bit. Like some bits I did struggle to kind of understand what it meant, but between the two ways of describing it, I was able to decipher it and do it relatively easily. It's not an easy pattern in general, it's definitely an intermediate pattern. I would say that I have made a pair of jeans before, which is the Mia jeans from Sew Over It, and they're completely falling apart. And they're quite a good first pair of jeans because they don't have all of the extra little bits like the yoke at the back and the pockets at the front. They just have pockets at the back. They also don't have like belt loops and stuff. So the Mia jeans are great, but obviously they're not perfect, and I wanted all those extra bits on my jeans, so that's why I moved on to the Ginger jeans. But I think the fact that I'd already made the Mia jeans not only gave me confidence to tackle the Ginger jeans, but also gave me a few techniques to refer to already. However, having said that, I think you could tackle the Ginger jeans as your first pair of jeans. I didn't make any changes to the pattern, I didn't need to, they were exactly as I wanted them to be. The only thing I did was I shortened it just after I'd made them, and then I put them on. I prefer my jeans to sit like on the ankle. I also, after trying them on, I realised that I needed to shorten the crotch, which I need to do on all trousers anyway, so that didn't come as any surprise, and I was fully prepared for that. That's a really easy adjustment to do. Again, the Closet Case blog has some really good tips on making those little adjustments. I also really recommend basting your pieces together first. This is partly because it's difficult to make a toile for this pattern, because you need to make a toile in a fabric that is similar to the fabric that you're going to use in the end. On the whole, this wasn't as long a make as I expected. I thought it was going to take weeks and weeks and weeks, but actually it probably came together in maybe 8 to 10 hours with cutting out and everything, and with going really slow and doing top stitching, and with fitting adjustments. So I was able to do my first pair over a weekend. My second pair just took a little bit longer, just because I didn't get back to them and I got distracted having to get other things done. But in total, probably 8 to 10 hours, I would say. The best part about this pattern, I think, is the detail. So I really love the fact that it doesn't just have the front pockets, which is a bonus, but it also has the coin pocket. You can put a pattern on the back pocket, so on my white ones I just basically copied the Levi's style. Maybe that's because I used to work for Levi's, maybe, but either way, I just think that that's quite a flattering pattern to have on the back pockets. And also I love the idea of having like a different coloured lining on the inside. That's really great, and yeah, they recommend that. So it's definitely all in the details for this. Things like the bar tucks, you feel like they're going to last a long time, and that's my favourite thing about this pattern. The finished product, needless to say, I think is amazing, and I'm so proud of both of these jeans. My white pair are a little bit big now. I think it's just the denim isn't bouncing back as much as the other denim was, and I definitely could make a smaller size. I may go back and do it again. It will require me doing a new waistband, obviously, because of the buttonhole. And the black pair I think fits absolutely perfectly, and they're incredibly comfortable. I'm so happy, and I've had a lot of skinny black jeans over the years. They've been a staple of my wardrobe since I can really remember, and I'm just so happy to have a pair that I've made that are completely exactly as I want them to be, kind of. Now, the only issue is, obviously, there are a few mistakes that you've probably noticed from the images already. So my black pair has 2 buttons. Now that's because I put the buttonhole and the button in the wrong place, so I put another one in. I think I was just in a little bit of a rush, and I'd already done the belt loops, and just the idea of taking it all off again and doing it again just hasn't really appealed to me yet. At the moment, I'm just trying to like style it out. I probably should go back and change it because it is probably going to annoy me. With my white jeans, I think I was a little bit over ambitious with the top stitch thread. Doing such a contrasting colour has just meant that all the mistakes have shown up. Unfortunately, my machine did get a little bit overwhelmed, I think, by the fabric, and actually denim does give off a lot of fibres as well. So even though I'd recently cleaned out my machine, it started working like really badly, and I couldn't get to the bottom of it. I couldn't work out why the top stitching was just looking awful and why it was skipping stitches. Anyway, eventually I thought there must be something stuck in it or jammed somewhere, so I opened the whole thing up and realised that actually it needed another clean, and once I'd done that, then it all worked fine again. But that did mean that there's a few places where it looks like it's been overstitched, if that makes sense. So I've had to like take out the stitches and do it again. I do have enough denim to do another waistband, so I think one weekend when I can be bothered, I will sit down and redo the waistbands on both of the jeans, because that's the place where I feel like I haven't quite done what I wanted to do. Now, the other thing I did on my white pair was, instead of hemming it properly, I decided I just wanted a frayed hem. So what I did was cut it to where I wanted it to be, pull out the horizontal like strands. I used an unpicker, but you could probably use tweezers as well. And then finally, to finish it off, I just put some anti-fray around the edges. You could also just sew a line of stitches if you have a matching thread, and that will help to keep the fraying to just where you want it to be. So in conclusion, I absolutely will make them again. It's one of those patterns where I feel like, obviously, as your body changes, you'll need new ones anyway. It's almost like I might never make the perfect pair, but I'm happy to keep striving towards that goal. I'm pretty happy with them as they are, but there's still changes that I would make. I still think I could do with taking another inch or so off of the crotch, because that's a little bit long at the front. I definitely think you should give this pattern a go, whether you prefer the high-waisted version or the mid-rise version, the skinny or the sort of more straight leg version. But I definitely think you should be prepared for quite an involved make, to take it quite slowly, and to maybe not make the perfect pair the first time round. So there we go, that's my review. I hope this has been helpful. You should definitely give it a go if you've been thinking about it, and let me know if you are making them, if you have made them, or if you have any other pattern suggestions or thoughts on this pattern. I just think it's a great pattern, and thank you so much to Closet Case Files for making this pattern, and for the resources as well, from tips on fitting jeans to making the ginger jeans themselves, and suggestions of how you can make them your own. The Closet Case blog is just a wonderful resource, particularly for this pattern and for trousers and jeans in general, to be honest. So I do recommend you have a look. No, I'm not sponsored. I just think it's a great pattern. So yeah, I have more reviews coming up, so please subscribe, and I hope to see you again next week. Have a great week.